All right, strap in, everyone, because today we're going deep, deep into the legendary Vallée Blanche.
Yeah.
A 23-kilometer, that's almost 15 miles, glacier run in the French Alps of Chamonix.
It's amazing.
We've got some articles, a super cool YouTube video from some folks who've actually skied it.
Right.
Get ready to figure out what makes this thing so special, explore the challenges, and face the reality of how climate change is reshaping this icy marvel.
You're not just skiing down a mountain, you're skiing across a massive glacier. It's constantly moving, changing beneath your skis.
Okay, that's both exhilarating and slightly terrifying. So what makes the Vallée Blanche different from, let's say, just hitting the slopes at your average ski resort?
Well, it's not part of a resort at all. It's a wild off-piste adventure, meaning it's outside the groomed, marked boundaries you would find at a typical ski area.
So no chairlifts, no cozy lodges along the way?
No, no.
So how do you even get up? Are we talking helicopters?
Not quite, but it's pretty spectacular. Uh, you start by taking the Aiguille du Midi cable car, boasting the world's longest vertical ascent at 9,200 feet.
Whoa, that's almost 2 miles straight up.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the views.
Oh, the views are breathtaking. The video we have shows these absolutely stunning panoramas from the viewing platform at the top.
Nice.
And they even stop for French pastries at a cafe up there. Talk about starting your day off right. But here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Before you even get to ski, you have to traverse this narrow, exposed mountain ridge to reach the Vallée Blanche starting point.
You're kidding me.
And it involves strapping on crampons, those spiky metal attachments for your boots, and carefully navigating the ridge.
So this epic ski run starts with a heart-stopping climb.
It's not for the faint of heart. The sources definitely emphasize that this ridge is one of the most dangerous parts of the whole experience.
Wow, that definitely sets the stage for an adventure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the actual skiing. What's it like to navigate a moving glacier?
It's unlike anything you'd experience on a groomed slope. The glacier is constantly shifting, creating these hidden crevasses, which are basically deep cracks in the ice, sometimes concealed by snow.
So you could be skiing along and suddenly...
Disappear into a crevasse. Well, hopefully not, but it's a serious danger. And that's why having an experienced guide is absolutely non-negotiable on the Vallée Blanche. The video we have features a guide named Jean who has been leading tours for over 30 years.
Wow.
He knows the glacier like the back of his hand and can adjust the route based on the conditions and the skill level of the skiers.
So it's like having a human GPS who also happens to be a glacier whisperer. That's incredible.
Absolutely. He can read these subtle signs in the snow and ice that most people would completely miss, helping to keep everyone safe.
So with all this talk of crevasses, ridges, have there been accidents on the Vallée Blanche?
Unfortunately, yes. The sources mention that fatal accidents do occur every year.
Um,
It's a sobering reminder that even with the best guides, the best equipment, the mountain demands respect.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that this is a serious undertaking, not just a casual ski day. You're out there in the raw elements, facing the power of nature.
Right. And speaking of the power of nature, one of the most striking things from the video was this visual that really drove home the impact of climate change.
Okay.
They showed a mountain hut built back in 1991, and the glacier base used to be right there at the bottom of the hut. Now it's nowhere to be seen.
Whoa, that's a pretty stark image of how much the glacier has receded. So how is climate change actually affecting the Vallée Blanche?
It all boils down to warmer temperatures. The glacier is essentially melting away faster than it can replenish itself.
Good.
The summers are longer and hotter, leading to increased melt, and even the winters aren't as cold as they used to be. This means less snow accumulation to replace what melts away.
So it's like the glacier is slowly shrinking before our eyes. And how quickly is this happening?
The sources actually give this pretty alarming statistic. The glacier has receded 10 times faster in the last 36 years than it did in the previous 68 years.
Wow, that's a dramatic acceleration.
Mhm.
So what does this mean for the future of skiing on the Vallée Blanche?
Well, that's a question we'll be exploring more in depth later in our deep dive.
Okay.
But it certainly raises concerns about how long this incredible experience will be possible.
That's a sobering thought. You know, you're not just skiing down a mountain, you're skiing through history,
Right.
witnessing the effects of climate change firsthand.
Exactly. And that adds another layer of meaning to this already extraordinary adventure.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Vallée Blanche.
Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. If someone is actually considering tackling this epic glacier run, what kind of preparation are we talking about?
Well, first and foremost, an honest self-assessment of your skiing skills is crucial.
Yeah.
This isn't your typical groomed run.
Are you comfortable skiing off-piste, which basically means ungroomed, unmarked terrain, often with varied snow conditions?
Right.
Can you handle steep descents and navigate through obstacles?
Yeah, the sources make it clear that even the easier routes on the Vallée Blanche still demand a solid level of expertise.
Exactly. And beyond skiing skills, you need to consider your physical fitness. This is a full day adventure.
Right.
And you'll be at high altitude, which can really zap your energy.
Sure.
Think about it. You'll be skiing for hours, potentially hiking with gear, and maybe even doing some boot packing, which is basically hiking uphill with your skis attached to your boots.
Oh, and let's not forget that 600-plus step staircase we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I can already feel the burn in my legs just thinking about it.
Right. So stamina is key, and being acclimated to higher altitudes is super important. If you're serious about tackling the Vallée Blanche, I'd highly recommend consulting with experienced guides and doing some pre-trip training to get yourself in tip-top shape.
It sounds like this is as much a mental challenge as a physical one. So let's talk about the mental game. What's the overall vibe of skiing the Vallée Blanche? The YouTube video gave some incredible firsthand perspectives.
Yeah. What really resonated with me was the guide, Jane. He's clearly a legend in the Chamonix Valley. His passion for the mountain and his commitment to safety were so evident. He was pointing out things that the average skier would completely miss, like subtle signs of crevasses or historical markers of the glacier's retreat.
Yeah, talk about having an expert eye. I was especially fascinated by how he explained the constant movement of the glacier, almost like a living, breathing entity.
Right.
It's not just about skiing down a static mountain. You're literally on a moving landscape.
Right. And he talked about how the Vallée Blanche has transformed over the years due to climate change.
Right.
You know, he reminisced about sections that used to be this incredible sea of ice with towering formations, but now those areas are much flatter and less dramatic because of how much the glacier has shrunk.
Yeah, that's what really got me. It's not just the adventure of it all, but also the stark reality of witnessing climate change up close and personal. Those visual reminders in the video, like the plaques along the staircase marking the previous levels of the glacier, are incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. It makes you think, doesn't it? What will this place look like in 10, 20, 50 years?
Right.
And then there's the question of the new gondola bypassing those plaques. Will future skiers even be aware of how dramatically the landscape has changed?
It's almost like hiding the evidence of climate change could make people less aware of the problem. Wouldn't that do more harm than good in the long run?
That's a really good point. It raises some serious ethical questions about balancing accessibility with environmental awareness.
The article from Fall Line Skiing echoed that concern, pointing out that the new gondola might lead to more overcrowding on the Vallée Blanche, potentially contributing to further glacier erosion.
It's a tough dilemma, isn't it? Trying to make these incredible experiences accessible to more people while also protecting the very environment that makes them so special.
It makes you really appreciate those who are advocating for responsible tourism, like the guides who emphasize safety and respect for the mountain, and the organizations working to preserve the Vallée Blanche for future generations.
It's a reminder that enjoying these incredible places comes with a responsibility to safeguard them.
Now, let's talk about the different routes on the Vallée Blanche.
Yeah.
The classic one, the Voie Normale, sounds like the go-to option for most skiers.
It's considered the most accessible route, following a gentler gradient through this incredible labyrinth of glaciers. You're skiing past giants like the Jean Glacier, the Taku Glacier, and even the legendary Mer de Glace, one of the largest glaciers in the Alps.
Wow, just hearing those names evokes images of towering ice formations and a sense of pure adventure.
Yeah.
But you mentioned easier earlier, so remind me, even on this route, there's still that perilous descent down the Aiguille to Midi Adet, right?
Yes, that narrow exposed ridge we talked about earlier is a crucial part of the Voie Normale experience. It's a reminder that even on the so-called easier route, you're still facing some serious challenges.
So for those adrenaline junkies seeking something even more intense, what are their options?
Well, there's a Petit Envers du Plan. This route kicks things up a notch with steeper sections and requires more intricate navigation through those ice formations. It's definitely not for the beginner skier.
And then there's the one that sounds absolutely wild, the Grand Envers du Plan. I read that it's the steepest and most technical route on the Vallée Blanche, requiring skiers to tackle some seriously gnarly slopes.
Exactly. Imagine sustained slopes of 40 to 50 degrees. It's basically skiing down the face of a skyscraper. The sources emphasize that this route is for expert skiers only. And even then, it's still considered uh, extremely challenging.
It sounds like it takes an incredible level of uh, skill, fitness, and courage to even attempt that one.
Yeah.
But here's what fascinates me. All of these routes, no matter how challenging or accessible, eventually converge with the Mer de Glace. It's like
Mhm.
this majestic river of ice that connects all these different experiences.
The Mer de Glace is truly a symbol of the Alps. It's a powerful reminder of the region's glacial history, but also a stark symbol of how rapidly these glaciers are disappearing.
It's like a living, breathing timeline of climate change.
Yeah.
The video showed sections where the glacier has receded so much that it's just bare rock and ice now. It's a
Oh,
sobering sight.
and remember that old gondola we talked about, the one that used to reach directly down to the ice when it was installed in 1988? Well, now there are over 500 steps just to get down to the glacier surface.
It's incredible to think about uh, how much the landscape has changed in just a few decades.
Hmm.
It's a stark visual reminder of the scale of glacial retreat.
And the project manager for the new gondola actually said something that really stuck with me. He believes that this will likely be the last gondola they build because the ice is expected to continue receding at such a rapid pace.
Wow, that's a powerful statement. It really makes you wonder uh, what the future holds for the Vallée Blanche and for all the other glaciers in the Alps.
That's a question that scientists, mountaineers, and anyone who loves these majestic mountains are grappling with.
It's a reminder that we're not just skiing down a mountain, we're skiing through history. And the future of that history is uncertain.
I think that's a perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground so far, from the technical aspects of skiing the Vallée Blanche to the personal experiences and the undeniable impact of climate change. Now, I think it's time to tackle some of the broader questions that this adventure raises, like the ethical considerations of skiing in a changing environment and what the future might hold for the Vallée Blanche.
I'm ready to dive into those deeper waters. Join us for part 3, where we'll wrap up our exploration of this extraordinary adventure. Okay, we're back for the final part of our Vallée Blanche journey. We've covered the thrills, the challenges, and the sobering reality of climate change's impact on this icy marvel. Now let's grapple with some of the bigger questions this adventure throws up.
You know, it's fascinating how the Vallée Blanche isn't just a physical challenge.
Right.
It also presents these ethical dilemmas, especially, as we see the effects of climate change so clearly.
Exactly. Knowing that the glacier is receding at such an alarming rate, how do we even approach the idea of skiing the Vallée Blanche responsibly? Is it even possible?
That's the million-dollar question, right? On one hand, there's this powerful argument that experiencing these places firsthand can, make climate change feel real and inspire action. It's like you only protect what you love, and how can you truly love a place until you felt its power and beauty?
Yeah, I get that. It's like that aha moment when something abstract becomes tangible and you suddenly feel a deeper connection to the issue.
Right. But then there's the flip side, the concern that our very presence, especially in large numbers, could be contributing to the problem. More tourists mean more infrastructure, more carbon emissions from travel, and more potential for disrupting, the delicate balance of the environment.
So it's like we risk loving these places to death.
Precisely. And the Vallée Blanche is such a perfect example of this tension. The new gondola, while making access easier and potentially boosting the local economy, also raises those concerns about increased traffic and accelerated erosion of the glacier.
So is there a way to navigate this? Can we foster appreciation for these incredible places without inadvertently harming them?
Well, I think responsible tourism is a key piece of the puzzle. It's about educating skiers about the environmental impact of their visit and encouraging them to minimize their footprint.
So practical steps like packing out all trash, sticking to designated areas, respecting the natural environment, all those little things add up.
Absolutely. And perhaps even encouraging people to consider carbon offsets for their travel to and from Chamonix. But individual actions are only part of the equation. The companies operating in these environments, like The lift companies, guide services, and local businesses also have a huge role to play.
Yeah, it makes sense that they'd be invested in protecting the very environment that sustains their business.
Right. Investing in renewable energy, implementing sustainable practices, even contributing to glacier research and conservation efforts. These are all ways for these companies to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Right. And maybe even considering limiting the number of skiers allowed on the Vallée Blanche each day to minimize impact. I mean, it's a bold idea, but maybe it's what it takes to ensure that this experience can be enjoyed for generations to come.
Yeah, it's a reminder that preservation sometimes requires tough choices, but it's about weighing those choices carefully
Uh-huh.
and considering the long-term consequences.
So what does the future hold for the Vallée Blanche? Based on what we've learned, it seems like the glacier will inevitably continue to recede, potentially changing the landscape dramatically.
That project manager's statement about the new gondola likely being the last one really struck a chord. It's a stark acknowledgement that the future of this iconic glacier is uncertain.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if skiing the Vallée Blanche as we know it will even be possible in the coming decades.
It's a question no one can answer definitively, but what we can do is learn from the past, adapt to the present, and make informed decisions that will shape the future.
Maybe the Vallée Blanche, even as it changes, can serve as this powerful symbol of both the beauty and the fragility of our planet.
And a reminder that we need to protect the places we love, near and far, not just for ourselves, but for future generations who deserve to experience these wonders too.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Vallée Blanche, what's the one takeaway you hope our listeners will carry with them?
For me, it's the importance of approaching adventure travel, especially in places like the Vallée Blanche, with a deep sense of responsibility. You know, not just for our own safety, but for the well-being of the environment we're exploring.
Absolutely. You know, the Vallée Blanche is this incredible tapestry of adventure, natural beauty, and the stark reality of climate change. It's a reminder that we're all connected to these places, and it's up to each of us to be mindful travelers and advocates for their preservation.
And remember, even as landscapes change, the human spirit of adventure and that yearning to connect with nature will endure. You know, we may need to find new ways to experience these places, but the journey of exploration and discovery will continue.
Well said. A huge thanks to you for joining us on this deep dive into the Vallée Blanche. We hope it's sparked your curiosity and maybe even inspired you to learn more about our incredible planet.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep seeking out those moments of awe and wonder that make life so extraordinary.